Hello, everyone. How are you doing?
Hello.
Hello.
So, we thank you for joining us again tonight for the eighth episode now for the five. If you look down below, you will see the link to our Facebook page. Also, on this channel, if you can like, dislike, comment, or share so that we can know what we should do or not do, or whatever your opinion is for us. On today's conversation, we are discussing question number one. Do you think most people, whether male or female, set their standards so high and that they don't want to open to negotiate in some areas? And question number two is, what happens in a relationship when what you're giving, being all positive, isn't reciprocated? Again, whether male or female, how long do you continue to accept their behavior? So, ladies, with those questions being said, um, who would like to open up with the first question at hand on standards? And do you, firstly, do you think, yes or no, that most people, male or female, set their standards too high? Is that a thing?
Yes.
For some people.
Mm-hmm. I say yes only because listening to this particular show that comes on Instagram, it's a single show. And so when asked, what are you looking for in a mate? Mostly the women, they say, they're looking for a man who makes a certain amount of money, six figures. And everything that they name most of the time, to me personally, is irrelevant. Like, okay, so you do need your man to have a job. You do need, your man to be able to take care of the things that need to be taken care of, right? The home, himself, basic things. So as long as he's able to do that comfortably, I don't think a certain amount of digits are necessary. But that's just me personally. So yeah, I think sometimes our standards are set high as well as unrealistic. That's just my thoughts.
Okay. So
I agree.
my answer is kind of a twofold. I would say probably when I was younger and unlearned, I would say my standards were ridiculous to the point where I was like anal.
Mm.
Like if your cuticles looked a certain way, if them toes was not posing, if your teeth, the outer appearance, if something was off, I think I might have been a little too anal. Granted, nobody is perfect. You had to have a certain haircut and a certain stature. And if you was too short, and you know what I mean, you had to be a certain height. And, so I would say yes. Being younger and unlearned, yes, my standards were ridiculously too high. But now being a woman of season and, knowing what I want, um, no, I don't think my standards are too high at all. At all.
I think some people can, depending on, I guess, what age bracket you in, they may say standards are too high. To me, I think maybe not too high, but unrealistic. Um, as far as when you want a certain level of income or living in a certain city or state, certain type of job, a certain demographic. Because after you've dated a few men and you've had a little level of experience, you realize sometimes having someone that makes six figures is not the standard. It's not even the high standard. It's unrealistic because he can have all that money. He could be a millionaire and be the very worst person in your life. You know what I
Absolutely.
mean? Because it's not just the money. You have to look deeper, dig deeper. Look into character, look into his familial surrounding. How does he treat his mother, his friends in different settings? Date someone long enough so you can see his reaction, his behavior in different situations. I think those are the standards we should, look more into deeper, way heavier than, the superficial things like money and type of job they are, doctor, lawyer, stuff like that.
Cuticles.
Yeah, I did say when I was younger. Yeah. Like some of the young girls now that I see on social media, you know, I don't know what their standard is and what their income is. Um, but you hear a lot of them, want a man of certain stature as far as the coins. But even though it's not about the coins, but baby, you have to match
Agree.
what you're asking for, or if you're not matching it, being above what you're asking for. So if
True.
you want this man with these figures, your figures need to be a little
Substantial,
somewhat
yeah.
where his figures are. And if not,
Absolutely.
To it.
what are you offering? If your figures are not where if your figures are not what you're asking for and what you're seeking, then when what are you offering? Are you even qualified or even worth? I'm sorry, but are you even worth being in a relationship with? So when it comes to that, I would say people, their standards are high. Um, so yeah, it can go yes, it can go no, I guess depending on who you're speaking with and what you're looking for. Um, I had a friend that just told me, you know, he's going elsewhere because what I say, what I want and don't want, he can't handle. And I'm fine with that. Of course, it's more on the I don't know, I don't want to say a man because you have most immature boys is what I'm gonna call it, because everything is just not about sex. Of course you want someone to be of standard and satisfaction, but everything is just not always about sex. And it don't mean that you're not the only one on the planet that you know how to please a female. You're not the only man. So for a person to act as if they have the only great qualifications, for a relationship when it comes to sexual, it's kind of sad. It's kind of pitiful. But again, I'm not setting my standards low because right now this may not be what I want. But what are you showing me? Can you pray for me? Can we have a decent conversation? Can we go to the coffee shop and enjoy ourselves? What are you again? What are you bringing to the relationship other than just some good sex?
Mm,
Because
mm.
God forbid, we don't know what can happen to us tomorrow. All I know, I can
That's the
be with
question.
you today, and 5 weeks from now, you can have an issue, and you may not even perform. So then,
Mm.
Yep.
what am I doing? So it has to be deeper than just
Yep.
some good sex. People out
Absolutely.
here in the world that's still single, trying to find that mate.
Oh,
Just
geez.
saying.
Help us, Lord.
Ladies,
I
what
agree.
do you have to say
I
with
Dig
that?
deeper, dig deeper.
I think today's woman is walking around with their standards high, really, really high. And like you said, if you can't meet him halfway, how dare you sit up there and say he needs to have this big house? He needs to have a Range Rover. He needs to have X amount of dollars in his account, and you don't.
Mm-hmm.
I just think sometimes I'm not going to say lower your standards, just adjust them and be open because You never know. That could be your husband. I used to, one of my pet peeves was I didn't want a fat guy. I would not date a fat guy. I was like, let me stop being so shallow. Like, who do I think I am? And another thing was the teeth. And if anybody know me, they probably be looking like, what is different about Michelle? I always had a chipped tooth since a little girl. I had a chipped tooth. And how dare I walk around with a chipped tooth and then be looking at somebody like, ooh, this is yuck mouth. I just do. I just think sometimes we can adjust them up just a little bit and see how it works.
Yeah. And I mean, I think also between the immature and the mature woman, um, granted, everybody's desire is not this big house and picket fence and the pool in the backyard. And, that's not everybody's ideal ending of a marriage or a relationship. It's deeper than the big house. Of course, everybody wants to be in a nice house and, to be able to have guests over and to entertain and, whatever your description is. But it's also even deeper than that because, again, this is the person that you are, I guess, expecting to spend the rest of your life with. So you want to be able to be in this big house and, be comfortable, be able to be in the house, and have conversations or enjoy each other's presence. God forbid something goes wrong and somebody's income is compromised and now we're in this big house. God forbid, no electricity, can't watch TV. Are we able to entertain each other? Do I want to snuggle up with you and lay my head on your shoulder? So, you have to think standard wise when it comes to that. I think you have to want more within the person than just the show off type of qualities. Um, just my thought.
I don't think it's sad, but unfortunately, I don't think the women of today, you just made a statement about you know, can I spend the rest of my life with you? And I don't think the women of today, and I say women that's because that's what I am and that's what I see, men may be possibly too, but I don't think they think that far. I don't think they enter marriage with the same goals as our parents, our grandparents, and so on. I think it's more about what can you do for me? Men want a woman, that can cook, take care of the house, that looks good, X, Y, and Z. A woman, did I say woman or did I say man?
Said man.
You said a
Okay.
man with the
Okay.
wife.
So a woman wants a man who can take care of her financially. I don't think they actually sit down and think about for better or for worse, richer or poor, sickness and health, death do us part. I don't think they even consider those factors anymore, which is why it's so easy for people to go in and out of relationships, especially marriages, married for 72 hours, 4 months, they don't push to make their marriage work. So, which is heartbreaking.
And I've even heard men say I've heard both sides. I've heard men, perusing on social media and also other conversations with real life people in my life. I've heard both sides. I've heard men say they don't care if the person they want to marry doesn't have a job or they're not working or have money because they want them to actually be at home so they can, once they start having kids and building a family, their wife is able to stay home and help take care of the household and the kids. And I've also heard other men say they want their wife to also not only take care of the kids in the household, but also bring some financial support to help him, assist him, pay the bills, pay the mortgage. I've heard both sides.
Yeah.
So it depends on that person, that particular mate that you choose. Ask questions, ladies. Ask lots of questions.
Lots
Exactly.
of
That's why I
questions.
think conversations is important, to be had, no matter how intense the conversation may be, or whether you're not hearing the answer that you want to hear. It's good to have those deep conversations, because again, what you have or what you start with may not be the same even 6 months to a year or whatever later. We just don't know, especially the way things are happening now. We just don't know. We really don't. So first and foremost for me is, do I like you enough to even want to be Netflixing and chilling for longevity? If
Yeah.
I'm unable to get the vacations from you and whatever women go after, because that's not the things that I go after, because those things I can do for myself.
Amen.
But yeah, it's quite interesting talking to, different women and hearing different opinions and different feedback. And even of course everything is social media now. So just seeing the TikToks and the different things that are going across the feeds, it's interesting on people's comeback and thoughts on different things.
I
Yeah.
agree.
All right. So it seems like we all gave our thoughts and our opinions to that first question. So the next question was, what happens in a relationship when what you're giving, which to me goes to the standards, and if you're setting particular standards because you know your qualifications and you know the kind of woman that you are and what you provide and what you can bring to the table. So we're going on an all positive note because we know everybody has negativity or whatever. But if what you're bringing to a relationship and what you're giving is all positive, and if it's not reciprocated, how long do you continue to accept that type of behavior? Because we know, but before anybody answers, we know that we have friends or family that know the list of, we're going to mix it up here. We know their list of cons is longer than their list of pros, but we
Yeah.
know people that have stayed in relationships and been together with a person for 10 years or more, or let's even take it here. They've been engaged to somebody for 5 years or longer, and that's all y'all have is numbers.
Yeah, that's
All you have is numbers, and you know that somebody should have left somebody a long time ago. So yes, how long do you think, or how long would you continue to accept the behavior of that individual?
Honestly, you gotta love yourself. When you choose to love yourself first, you're not waiting that long, because it's impossible. It's impossible to do. Once you're loving yourself, you know what you want, you know what you need, you know what you can offer, you know what you've been offering to that person. And you're giving that person the benefit. Even are we talking about marriage or before marriage? What are we talking about? Or just in general?
Just, I mean, we're
In
speaking
general,
of relationships, so I'm gonna assume it's not marriage,
married. Okay.
but it
Okay.
can go either way.
all
If
the
you're with
above.
somebody,
Yeah.
yeah, if you're with somebody for a long period of time, and you know that you're giving your all, and it's
Yeah.
majority positive, even if
Mhm.
it's
Okay.
even if it's negative, because at the point you could be just tired and you could be giving off negative energy. However, it whichever, how long do
Yeah.
you continue to accept that behavior?
Yeah. Well, if they're not married, preferably they were able to figure that out before marriage, because why would you go into a marriage knowing all this stuff, think it's going to change? But preferably they haven't married yet, right?
Mhm.
So giving them the benefit of the doubt, giving them time, you're communicating your needs. and a certain number or period of time has passed and it's still not has been, there's no change, nothing's reciprocated, and you're giving your all, yeah, don't stay there. Because the person that continues to do the very thing that they know you don't like, does he really care about you? Does he really
Yeah.
love you?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You got to start asking yourself those questions.
But
Love
that
doesn't
too,
hurt.
but what you saying that, I also just thought of, you have to ask yourself those questions, but
Yeah.
also we can dig a little deeper and say, are you even expressing your true feelings of
Mhm.
whether you don't like how so and so is
Yeah.
treating you, or
You got to
are you
communicate.
actually reciprocating that, explaining that, having a conversation with the person so that they can know that, listen,
Yeah.
what I liked at this point, we're 10 years in, what I liked 5 or 6 years ago, I don't like it now. So I either want you to stop or listen to what I'm saying to you when I'm complaining, and first hear me, because we all know when with relationships and communicating, if we're both talking, and we said this before, I don't know on which session, but if we're both listen to hear, I think was the topic. So if
Yeah.
you're watching now, you can go back to our conversation where I think it was called listen to hear and not to speak.
Mhm.
You have to listen to your partner. And sometimes, even if they don't have the confidence to express what they don't like verbally, but if you know your partner, you know their body language.
Absolutely.
That too.
You can sense the vibe. You can sense, oh, I just said that, and it's kind of cold in here now. You can sense it. So if you don't have the confidence to express your likes and don't likes, then in that case you really can't blame the other person for not changing. But then again, still, how long do you continue to accept this person's behavior? I just threw a lot
Not
out there.
long.
Well, so for me, I just, in relationships in general, whether it be, the opposite sex or family, I was one that just kind of, took whatever was given. I took whatever um, was given to me, whether I liked it or not. But the vernaculars today, honey, I decided, and I even posted this on my Facebook page a couple years back. I give what's given to me, I reciprocate that exact same thing back. You know what I mean? And so I had to reevaluate relationships and conversations, and because you said, they can hear, they can see your body language, right? But a narcissist doesn't see
They don't care.
your body language. They don't could care less about your body language.
That's
They
a whole
they
nother
see it, and it's
conversation.
like, that's not my problem, because it's all about them.
Them.
And so
Yeah.
I had to, and I had a few of those type of people all up in this space right here, and one I just kicked out of this space a couple months ago, because I'm like, wait a minute, why every time, we don't speak often, but why is it every time I call you, and if I'm having an issue, you answer the question, but you don't say, are you okay? What's wrong? You just answer the question, that's it. And I'm like, wait a minute, something's not right, because the moment you text me something's wrong, I follow up a couple days later. Everything okay? Is there something I can do? And if I'm not getting that back, then why are we here? What are we doing?
Why are we friends?
What are we doing? And so I had to cut him out, because you're wasting my time. You're wasting my time. And when I say cut out, I'm talking no more friends on social media. Don't text me, because I'm not going to answer. If there's not a SOS and no one's bleeding, we have nothing to talk about. And so you have to decide for yourself, do I love me? Because if you love yourself, you're not going to just take anything people give you. You know, you give your best, you should receive their best. And if you're not getting their best, then that's something that you need to evaluate, because what's the point? What's the point? Why pay for college? You know, you pay for college and then you skip class. What's the point of paying for college if you don't even go to class? So why are you giving something all this money and not getting anything back? Only a fool would continue to do that. And I have decided that I can no longer be someone's fool. I remember back in the day, you know, I was with someone and then we broke up because I got back with someone else. Don't judge me. But anywho.
Yeah.
And so the person that I broke up with to get back with the other person called me and said, if you got a boyfriend, how come every time I call you, you at home? And that made me so mad. And I hung up the phone and I realized, wait a minute, he's absolutely right. So I had to think about that thing. And so I brought, you know, the conversation, not indirectly, up to the other person. And I said, listen, because, you know, I was not direct back then. And I said, listen, I'm like a flower. If I don't get the sun dies, right?
The flower dies?
The flower dies if you don't get the sun. So the person said to me, I'll never forget it. We were watching Sanford and Son, and he rolled over and said, kiss me on my forehead. He goes, oh, that's so cute.
Oh, Lord.
And then proceeded to say, I don't care who you consider yourself with. There will always be a you and I. Rolled back over and continued to watch Sanford and Son. And even though my little self thought that was so cute, but then when the grown-up self decided to say, that's not cute. So I gave him 7 days to see if anything was going to change. Nothing changed. So I went back to the other D. Now, yes, I was wrong because, you know, I was completely wrong, but that was the immature me, right? But I still knew, even at that point, even though I handled it wrong, I still knew at that point that I was worth more than whatever this is. This is not working. And I know you're going out, so why am I in the house Friday, Saturday, Sunday? So we have to come to the realization that we deserve more than what these people, you know, the people that you're dating, family members, you're worth more than that. And no one's going to change. No one can change that but you. You have to hold people accountable. So yeah, that's funny.
Yeah, you definitely have to, for one, have the confident. No, first you have to love yourself. You have to have the confidence, and then you have to know, you know, your worth.
Absolutely.
And you know, whether your standards are high or low, you know, those things are important. And only you can answer you know, what you're willing to accept and what you're willing to negotiate, and decide how long you decide to be with someone who's not reciprocating, you know, anything back. A doggone dog wants love, wants to be fed, wants to be caressed, wants to be walked, wants to run, wants to have romantic walks in the park. I mean, I love watching Discovery Channel and the Animal Channel, and some of these animals is more romantic than than I mean, I people watch.
Yes, come on.
And whether I'm with, normally it's family out at gatherings or whatever, and I see couples and their body language is just giving me,
Thank
why
God I'm
y'all
single.
together?
Mhm.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Because y'all not talking, y'all not, first of all, forget talking. You don't even see a smile, a eyebrow up here, a cheek down there. Like,
Nothing.
the nonverbal is deep.
Yeah.
Especially when you
So
see them driving down the street and they in the car, and one looking this way and the other one driving like,
yes, I love people watching, and it's just interesting. And again, the animals are more affectionate. Even a lion is gonna come and lick and then walk off.
Something.
That's something.
Forehead touch,
Rub his
right?
head,
Forehead
rub his
kiss.
head.
Like,
Right.
yes, come on. So
Mhm.
you know, you have to know what you want and what you don't want, what you're willing to accept and what you're not willing to accept. And if you don't show people how to treat you, sorry for you.
You
And
know,
that's the key part. You just said it right there, Mika. Show them how to treat you.
treat you
You're
absolutely.
kind of, it's pivotal. You're kind of, it's not just all them. You have to, not just in words, but you show them. Show
Yep.
them how you want to be treated.
Your love
And
languages,
the fact that they don't
absolutely.
listen, that's telling. There's a
Mhm.
lot.
That
Yeah,
nonverbal is deep.
it
Or
is.
when you ask a deep question and you get a two-word response,
Like, whoa.
to me, listen, no problem, partner.
Oh gosh.
Cause what? I asked you a whole, and granted, men and women communicate differently. I
Yeah.
get that. But
You just say one and two words. Come on. Where
some
we
things
at?
is like, okay, my nephew would have said more than that.
And that's
You
not an
asked what
open-ended
he wanted
question
to
either.
eat, huh?
That's not in what you ask most of the time, it's not even
It's
open-ended.
not a
So
deep,
like it's just, direct question. Should have a
yeah.
direct answer.
Like my nephew, you ask him what he wants to eat, honey. He is giving you a full spread.
Full
mhm.
Sometimes
spread.
the meat and the three-course appetizer.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Like, and his appetite is serious, and he's 9,
8.
8.
Mm.
So, come on, men. We gotta do better. Come on, women. We gotta do better. Like, it's we gotta do
I want
better.
I want to make a point. So, obviously you don't have to spend that much time molding someone because you can't really truly mold them, right?
Mm-hmm.
But you express your likes and don't your dislikes, and if they're doing the same, then communication is open, and it's great. So then if you come down the line a year or two and there's something's not right, then you don't have to spend all that time trying to fix it unless you want to. So you can walk away and be clean and clear and everyone's copacetic. Now, if you're in a marriage, that's a little different. You have to invested time, so you should be able to invest. Now, if you're investing and your investment partner is not picking up the slack, then maybe it's time to reevaluate that part of the business.
Mm-hmm.
In other words, you have to make sure that you're communicating, like what has been said most of the night. Communication is paramount for any
Yeah.
type of relationship, right?
Yeah.
And so if you're doing your communication and what you're giving is not being received, then it's at some point it's time to have that conversation where maybe it's time to go our ways, maybe counseling, because a third party is always best, you know, um, and someone who's not mutual, that third party, so that way they can see what you typically can't see on both ends.
Mm-hmm.
It's different. You're married, you should put in the work. And if you're just dating, and men, I you don't need to be dating for 5 years in order for them to know she's it. She's not it. I'm just staying with her until something better comes along. Or I'm just staying with him until something better comes along. Why sit there and waste each other's time if you know, because you've had this conversation, that you're two opposite directions? and one can't compromise and the other one not, because at some point there's going to be resentment if someone's compromising the most and the other one's not compromising
At
little
all.
or at all.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
communication is paramount in any relationship. Without it, you're just doomed. You're just business partner, spouse,
Everything.
and everything. Your dog, you don't communicate with your dog, he's gonna do whatever he
Mhm.
wants in your house.
Oh, his
Okay.
behavior gonna show it that something ain't right. If you
Uh-huh.
start chewing up stuff, pooping up stuff, listen,
Yeah,
animals communicate better than humans.
I say that all the time.
You said hamsters?
Animals.
Animals
Oh,
communicate
animals in
better than
general.
humans.
Yeah,
Hamster,
absolutely.
hamster ain't all of them. They communicate better than humans.
It's so disturbing
It is.
because we're supposed to be the intelligent ones.
No, it's the animals. It's definitely the animals. And
Lately on my social media, the gorillas, I don't know why, the gorillas keep coming up, and they show how
My
the little
favorite.
baby keep playing with the mom and run around and jump on the mom, and they show you the dad hugging the little baby gorillas, and all of a sudden, and maybe I clicked on one picture and then they just keep sending them to me, but it's so
Yeah.
adorable. It really is how they show so much more affection, and
Family,
it's
yeah.
really adorable.
they
I do believe that women sometimes have a tendency to just put up with. They know it's not being reciprocated, and they just put up with it. And
settle.
I don't. Yeah, there you go. I don't think you should do that. A lot of
Not
us
at
know
all.
we shouldn't do it, but they wind up doing it and then be angry with themselves at the end.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
It left you a long
Mhm.
time ago. Yeah, you
Or
should have.
they settle and take it out on the children
Hmm.
and neglect the children or just be mean and nasty to the children when the person you should be being mean and nasty to is your doggone self because you the one chose to have us in a situation in the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
Now you
Um,
know why, don't you?
but hold that
Because
thought
we've seen.
before you say that, to go back to
Oh,
the monkeys. I love the monkeys. They're my favorite. And my favorite is the orangutan. But however, the silverback is my second to favorite. And as big as that silverback is, he is the most patient and
He is
peaceful
gentle,
when it comes
my
to
yeah.
playing with
goodness.
the babies.
Yeah,
Like,
very gentle.
and if that big giant can be gentle and patient,
Hmm.
come on, man, with your little skinny or whatever stature you are, come on. Like y'all gotta do better. Y'all gotta do better by us women. Whether it's your mother, your sister, your daughter, your grandma, your aunt, your best friend that you call your best friend with
Mm-hmm.
benefits, whatever female that's in your life, y'all gotta do better. And especially the
Better.
way we're dying off, like the way we're dying off, like y'all not to have regrets, but y'all just gotta do better. And
Better.
these women as well have to do better by our men. Treat them like men. Treat them like the kings that they are. And if they're
Yeah.
not, maybe if you start treating them like that, maybe they will humble down and die down to how society is treating them when they're out in the streets. And if you're being a little more gentle in the house and
Yeah.
again treating them like that king, whether he's worth it or not, that might change his
Their peace.
demeanor. That might
Absolutely.
change his attitude. A man just wants somebody to be gentle with them. And I don't
Yeah,
know
they
how
do.
I'm going on this, and it may not apply to the wife all the time, but sometimes, and not that I'm covering for them because I don't agree with this at all, but for the men that give their reasons of cheating, sometimes the outside person is just they're just they could be just listening to them.
Your peace that come for
Or they could be just making them that scrambled egg and scrapple with orange juice in the morning.
Yes.
That's not always the case, but in most cases, women, we just gotta be a little more gentle and compassionate and loving and caring and affectionate to our men.
And other things too.
And other things, because the kids
Reminded.
see what their parents or their mother or father is not doing, and they're reciprocating the same BS.
Following examples.
So we gotta do better overall.
Yeah, all of us for sure. As a society, as a whole, absolutely.
Yeah, sorry, but if you ain't forget what you was gonna say, I just felt that, so I had to get it
I
out.
was responding to what Michelle said, that most times females in general, they stay in the relationship and they settle. And I said, well, the reason why is our parents and our grandparents and we've seen them stay in marriages for 40, 50, 60 years. And though they say they were happily married, but the ones that are in the house, they saw the crap that they had to deal with day in and day out, and what they know they didn't receive, know what was not reciprocated. And the mom or father stayed because that's what they did. You stay in, you don't air out your dirty laundry for everyone to know neighborhood. That whole generation was different, and they kept it in the family, and they dealt with it as best they knew how, and they stayed. And that was what the kids, they saw it, and that's what they learned that from, especially the women.
And that's why some of them. Go ahead, Shell.
No, I will always hear this saying in my family: "You know what you got, but you don't know what you're gonna get."
That's why, and that's why this generation now, they're so quick to get out.
Yeah.
Because they don't want to be what they saw. And I get that, and for the most part they're right, but you have to, but that's after you exhausted all your other options to make things better.
Yeah.
When you can say, when you can truly say that you've given 100%, and you know that in your heart of hearts, then you should be able to walk away without any regret or anything like that. But yeah, marriage and relationships, marriage and relationships these days are way different, and it's hard to navigate sometimes. It's hard to navigate, it's hard to navigate.
Yeah.
And then especially when you want to, so dating by itself is stressful. Marriage by itself is stressful. But then when you're have this particular standard for yourself, as far, just, spirituality, for example, that's a whole nother beast by itself. So now you have just your regular, he needs to be 6 foot tall, 200 and something pounds, hair, beard, goatee, salt and pepper. You have all those factors, and now you got to add in, and then you put he needs to know Jesus, he needs to be saved, needs to be abstinent until we get married. When you add all those other factors, honey, that's exhausting.
Even harder.
That's exhausting.
Even harder.
Girl. It's so much harder.
In this generation too. Hard pickings.
Slim, very slim. That's why you wait, and you just wait and you trust God. But honey, to do it me personally, to do this on my own, and there ain't no way. I had to pull out all my hair. I had a migraine every day. I can't do it. Can't do it. But I commend those that are out there. And it's funny, I was talking to someone this week, and she called me, she was so upset. Now, she's a young lady, how dating is just so stressful, and no one's, it's just a joke. It's just a joke. And how, she was dating someone, and he's like, let's go on a double date, which is fun. That could be fun, a bunch of your friends and their girls coming out, hanging out, good time. And she said, she had shown her dude a picture of her friend, so he could hook her up with someone else. Da, da, da. And she said after he showed her, after she,
oh no, Nick, don't say it.
He became so invested. So invested, and it was invested for the wrong reasons. And how was bad enough when you doing it on the side, but you have the audacity to be so invested in your girl's friend right in front of her, and you had just from a picture. It's like, Jesus, I just be by myself because I can't deal with stuff like that.
Goodness. He wanted her for himself.
I would have probably punched him in the face and then blocked him after that.
That's a good thing. I'm happy you showed me. I'm so happy you showed me that.
But just from the disrespect alone, I would have punched him in the face and then blocked him.
Like,
and kept it.
I'm so happy that you so intrigued in her picture, because you just letting me know that you can't be trusted if we were in a serious anything.
At all.
You thirsty.
Completely thirsty. Good Lord. So imagine if she took him around her family members, like her sisters, her cousins.
You're disrespectful.
He's dehydrated, honey. He need an IV.
God. You can't take him nowhere. Go sit your hand down.
Literally.
Mm.
It's hard in these streets, as they say.
Ciao.
That's why I always say that you have to really, if anybody know this better than me, let me know. But this is why I say, seriously, this is why I say you have to enjoy dating yourself.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Listen, and my sister called me Fat Turtle. So listen, I love me some good eating.
Me too.
So you gotta date yourself and go by yourself and eat at restaurants and have a drink here, or go by yourself shopping. And honey, you gotta know what it feel like and what it is to date yourself.
Yeah.
Because we're talking about standards here, right? So if you can't even do that and have the confidence to be by yourself in these streets and pull up in your vehicle in the parking lot and stroll in the mall or stroll in a restaurant. Listen, I have sat in restaurants by myself and journaled, had my AirPod in my ear, had my notebook, ordered my food, and sat there in confidence like you would thought I was in the meeting. And I sat there by myself.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Zoom meeting with the self.
But listen, you gotta really appreciate you. Because if
you gotta do that,
standards, why the heck you setting standards and wanting this man to be this tier, but you don't even know what it is to date yourself and to be somebody's loneliness and being alone is not the same thing.
Not at all.
Two different things.
And I think you have to really experience and enjoy to be alone so that you really can know your standards for one, and to know if you want somebody to be in this bubble with you.
Right. And that'll prevent you from settling, because you know what you don't want in your bubble. Like, oh no, exit.
Listen, and I'm gonna share this. So I had, because I don't really have no more, but I used to have male friends that I can bust it up with, I can talk to. They can call me and ask me questions about their relationships, and they know I'm a down-to-earth female. Now, I've had some of them that was married and try to shoot their shot. I'm thankful for the confidence in the woman that I was raised to be, to not want to be nobody's seconds and deny them that access. I can be your friend, probably shouldn't have been, But to answer your marital questions or whatever issue you have, that's just the kind of woman that I am, because I have the confidence and know who I am. So I can be able to communicate and have a conversation with you and not cross those lines.
Mm-hmm.
Even though they try. But just to think if I wasn't that kind of woman and I was the thirst trap and I listened to what they said, oh, we just separated. We're not gonna get back together. And how many I see months later on the gram on vacation with the wife, but you just got finished telling me y'all was separated and y'all ain't getting back together. So
That's
women
what he
gotta do
told you,
better
Kobe.
with that. Y'all gotta do better with what the man is saying, and something ain't adding up. If he only calling you during a certain time, or if he keep declining, we gonna go out, but keep declining your dates, then something is not adding up, and it's for a reason.
Yeah, I gotta reschedule. Sorry,
Uh,
baby, I gotta reschedule.
It's always something coming up. Then honey, you might need to move on or ask them deeper questions. When you say you single, but how come every time I ask this or I want to go here, I'm always getting so I went from one point to the other part, but I had to share that because then that goes back to having the confidence in yourself and setting your standards, that you have to learn what it is to be alone, to not accept some Joe Blow, somebody's other half, the BS that they're selling you just to get what they want, knowing at the end of the day, they still gonna hang on to wifey, but they just want to get what they can get over here. Women, you gotta start making sense of stuff. Grammar school, 2 and 2 ain't adding up to be 4.
Yeah.
Then you might have to red flag something and say, okay, well, this brother, something's missing. So your standards have to be high to a degree.
Mm-hmm.
Because if not,
Tamika, it goes back to what
you
you
would accept
said.
anything.
It goes back to what you said. Loneliness and being alone are two different things.
Two different
Sometimes
things.
some of these women, they're so lonely, they know, but they ignore the red flags and they ignore the signs and they settle for these men, these unavailable men, just so they don't have to be alone or lonely.
Or just because
And
they're
it's
paying
sad.
for a bill and they getting extra
Right.
cash and they going on vacations and whatever it is that they desire, you gotta do better than that, honey.
Settling for what they call it, side chick Valentine's Day, the day before or the day
The day
after.
after.
You know
Yeah,
what? I ain't never
Christmas,
hear
I see
that.
you the day before or the day after. Thanksgiving, no,
That's
you
a
know.
red flag.
They
I
do.
Y'all
get
That's
my
what
women
they
think,
think.
gift.
That's what they
Since I'm
accept.
listen,
getting my gift, he bought me a Louis, so it don't matter. Before or the day
listen.
after, I don't even care.
Yeah, because you settle and you okay, you got to be okay with it, you know.
Of
I'm
course
getting
we
my
are.
bag. Don't you
Standards.
worry about it.
That's having no standards at all.
But your feelings
That's
really
lower than
hurt
those
because
standards.
you
I don't
like
even
you
know.
looking on, you creeping on their Facebook page and you do see them on vacation together, you
Uh-huh.
know.
They know.
It
It's
can be
sad.
it can be because
Yeah.
that's how you have it, you know. That's how you have it. That's they know you okay with it and they're going to continue to do it.
And that's
Absolutely.
another thing. If women will stop having no standards, low
Say that. Say
standards,
that.
low self-esteem,
Say it.
oh,
Say
I'm
it.
so lonely, I'm just going to accept anything. If
Anything.
they stop having that and stop declining the men that are doing it,
Yes.
we will have men stop cheating and try to figure it out with their wives and figure it out that okay, either she for me or she not for me, and just move on. Or you will not have the cheating and the side babies if
Come on
women
now.
stop accepting the BS.
But
Like, you gotta want more for yourself, even if
Self.
you
Come
didn't
on now.
see it, even if you didn't see it in your house. At what point do you want more for yourself?
but and we had to say this topic for another time. because our time is almost up. But there are those women who have all the confidence in the world and purposely set their claws, set their grips on married men because they don't want 100, they don't want to have a relationship 100%, but they want to have the benefits of one. So there are those that have that have that confidence, but they do this on purpose. They go after married men because he only can call me a certain time, I only have to deal with him a certain time, and blah blah blah.
But it makes you question, is it
That's
confidence? If they are really willing to accept not having the committed man in their lives or in their environment,
That's what they want.
I don't
that's
know.
fear. They're
I was
afraid
still
of
Not all the
something.
time, though. Not all the time.
I would still question a woman. I would still question a woman who wants that because something is still off within you.
Well,
They're
to me,
afraid.
something is still off. Whether it's even if it's not their confidence, even if they think and confidence, what is confidence to a person? Because confidence is not always just, oh, I can go in a room and I can be the baddest chick in the room. I'm a 10 and everybody in here is about 5s and below or 6 and below. Or I could put on this outfit and make it look like it's expensive, but I got it from Target, which I love Target, by the way. But so confidence is not just a beauty thing. Confidence goes deeper.
it's absolutely.
So
and some of these people have it. But
Sometimes
again,
it's arrogance too.
that.
But again, that's a topic for another day because
It is.
that's a topic for another day. Because we can be here all night with that alone.
Yes.
Let me tell you something. A female that decides or just chooses to want a married person because they don't want a full-time man, she's afraid of something. She's either afraid of getting hurt. She wants to be in full control. She's afraid, literally afraid of rejection and being hurt. Fear of commitment. It's fear.
Or something in her
It boils down
past.
to fear. She camouflages it as, oh, I want to maintain my independence, or oh, I don't want a full-time man. She wants to have him 3 days out the week or 1 day out the month and still get whatever monetary gain she can get out of it. But at the long run, she's afraid. It's fear.
Maybe.
That's the problem.
Maybe. I don't know.
In this situation that I know of, she wasn't afraid. She just went through so much in her past. That's all she wanted. I want to be able to say
That's
bye.
fear, Shell.
Hi.
She went through so much in her past. She was afraid of having to go through it again. That's fear.
Okay, ladies. So as you can hear, the conversation is getting rather juicy. But for tonight, we're gonna call it to an end. And we will have to do part 2 to be continued of this conversation to go deeper in depth. But however, thank you guys for listening and watching. At the bottom of the screen, you will be able to like, dislike, comment, and share. You will also see our Facebook link. If you have anything that you want us to further discuss, you can send us some questions, post the questions. And until then, we will see you for session number 9. Toodles.
Night.
Night.